Now, budgetary control was documented and written up in the 1920s by a guy called James McKinsey, who went on to found the McKinsey Corporation. Now, you might say, look, what's he got another motorbike down here? This is one of my old motorbikes. That's actually came out around the time that budgetary control came out. Now, it has no brakes, it has no clutch, it has no gearbox. Basically, if the engine is going, so are you, which makes life very exciting. Now, this bike, it's a Triumph Model A, in case you want to know. This bike was the latest in technology when budgetary control was around. Now, if I was to tell you that I came from London to Antwerp via this motorbike, you'd say, you've got to be mad. Why? Because the world has changed, hasn't it? We now have motorways. This thing does a maximum of about 40 kilometers per hour, and I need at least 500 meters to stop. The world has changed. But do you know what? This management framework that consists of annual planning, quarterly forecasting, monthly reporting, was actually devised for a different world, a world that no longer exists today. And that's actually led to something that when I try and explain to people, there's a real big change in the business environment. And this new environment needs a different approach. Budgetary control no longer works. Look, I've done this. This is a timeline from 1970s when I started my work with ComShare, helping organisations to plan and report. And I've seen three things that have happened. And particularly this has accelerated over the past 10 years. The first thing is this, something that I call the speed of business. Back in the 1970s and 1980s, for a new competitor to come into my market space, develop a product, get round to my potential customers and start selling, it would take them years. Right? And so therefore, annual planning was fine because guess what? The marketplace could not react very quickly. We all know that through things like the 24/7 world now, where anybody can set up a virtual company and start selling tomorrow and start marketing very, very easily, we know that the world, the speed of change has accelerated. Ask any phone company making mobile phones and they'll tell you the trouble is in this marketplace is that the products we start out with at the beginning of the year, in fact, those that we are planning to release during the year will be out of date by the end of the year. The second thing that we see is actually the complexity of business. Back again in the 1970s, I was dealing with organisations that typically have one product and one service. It was quite straightforward. The manufacturers would sell those goods and it was all quite simple. But we've seen a big change. For example, we've seen the role of intermediaries. In the UK now, it's very rare for you to buy your gas or electricity or water of the people who actually supply it. We seem to have separated. There's a whole raft of organisations who will sell you the gas that British Gas make for some reason. And it's just made everything very complex. You only have to look at the various tariffs and phone charges, for example, trying to buy a mobile phone. Again, it's got very complex. We find, for example, if you want to go and buy a Mercedes car, you won't go to the showroom and buy one now. They'll make you one to order. We now have a customer of one. So instead of having one mass marketed product, we now find ourselves in an environment where there are multiple products depending on what you want. And so on. And of course we found out that through things like Twitter and so on, social responsibility has become a big thing. Just last week, Starbucks have got into real big trouble in the UK market. It's a huge market for them. People have just found out that Starbucks basically pay no income, no tax. Because they sort of, I have to be careful what I say here, but it seems to me that they waft their money through various intermediary companies, but they never pay tax. Like, for example, in the UK. Whereas Costa Coffee pay a lot of UK tax. And we're seeing a shift away from Starbucks to Costa Coffee. So social responsibility is starting to hit home. And it's making the business world more complex. Now, as a result of these two things, what we're seeing is the planning horizon. In other words, how far into the future can I predict with any degree of accuracy what's going to happen? And back when I was selling these systems in the 1970s, 1 year to 2 years was fine, because the marketplace just didn't change that fast. Today, for many industries, that planning horizon has come down to quarters, some cases weeks. It's now come right the way down. Now, in response to this business environment, there are always academics and there are always technology vendors, so I'm including us both in this, who will come up with solutions. And so, if you look at the academic world, there's all sorts of methodologies that have come out. By the way, there is a paper on this with much more detail that you can have as a copy afterwards, just in case you're trying to write all this down. But we've seen, like back in the 70s and 80s, the total quality movement. This is how you manage the organisation to bring better products. And then we saw management by objectives arise. Then we saw the balanced scorecard. All different management methodologies trying to help organisations cope with the complexity and the speed of business. Of course, technology vendors have come up with different technology solutions. Back again when I started, we would sell single-user planning systems. Those systems then became multi-user systems. Then they became multi-dimensional systems. And so we've seen lots of technologies, scorecard technologies, forecasting methodologies, have all arisen to try and cope with this world that we're in. And to my mind, these things bring 4 issues that organisations face today that we felt we had to solve in the product in CorPeuM. Issue number 1 is, I've already mentioned it, it's the planning horizon. Interesting, right? Here's a statistic from a Best Practices book. The average organisation spends around 4 months doing a guessing game. And yet they're out of date. That budget is out of date usually within the first couple of months. When I was with ComShare, I remember once we finished the budget process 2 months into the new year. I think Frank was with the organisation at the time, because we used to work together. I remember we finished the budget process 2 months into the new year, and we missed the first 2 months. How could we? We knew what the results were, and yet we missed it. Because the trouble is, most budgeting is just this simple guessing game. We're trying to guess events that are 15 months out, when the world is probably going to be a very different place 15 months out. So here's the first issue. The second issue is to do with what I call the budget context. I bet you I could come to many, well, actually not your organisations, because I know you guys are switched on. But I can go to many organisations and I can take their budget template with me, even though I've never been there. Because it has a series of revenues at the top, then it has a series of direct costs to give a product contribution, then it has a series of cost items to ending up with some kind of operating margin. Well, how useful is that? When you think about it, look at this. It's not unusual for a company to develop a budget item for spending on photocopier paper, rather than work out where's it going to get, what kind of revenues is it going to get from its 20 best customers. The trouble is that we often plan and budget the wrong things. Just how important is photocopier paper anyway, to the grand scheme of things? And so what we find is that there's actually little or no contextual information in terms of strategy and what we're trying to achieve. The second, what people do, the second thing here then, is that once we have a budget in place, the management reports that we produce, and if anybody's heard my presentation before, they will see this slide time and time again. I'm going to keep presenting this slide until organisations stop producing this report. I say to people, here we've got our reports, so I've got actual budgets and variance for the month. Boy, have you ever heard I'm sort of controversial in some things? Here I've got actual budget variance for the month, actual budget variance for the year. And I say to organisations, this is the worst. It is the worst report you could ever produce to manage your business. Now, some of you are thinking, if only I could produce that report, I'd be all right. Okay, let's take a look at it, shall we? I notice that for the month, I'm £500 or €500 over budget. Isn't that great? Yes, but in terms of managing performance, I want to know why am I 500 over? Why did we go 500 over? Well, I hope we do next month. No, but why did we go over this month? And people say, what you need is drill down. Fantastic. So I drill down, it's one product with one customer that's got 500 over. Still doesn't tell me why they went over. And look at this. On the right-hand side, I've got a variance. I'm actually 5,000 euros behind target for the year. What I want to know if I'm going to manage performance is, what are you going to do that is different from what you've already been doing to improve this performance? And of course, I've been in sales situations, I've been running a sales organisation. People say, well, just sell more. Oh, great. As if we haven't been trying to sell more all year. What I want to know is, what are you going to do that's different? People say, trust me, it will come in. And you go back and you cross your fingers. Oh, it's coming. It's a crazy way of managing an organisation. Here are the 5 things that are wrong with this report. By the way, it's a good report if you just want to look at the financial status of the company. It's fine. However, it doesn't tell you half the stuff you need to manage it. For example, this is in relation to a budget which may be a guessing game. So how good were we at the guessing game? It doesn't tell you actually whether or not you're beating the competitors, whether you're gaining market share, because it has none of that information in it. Look, it provides no context of what's happening in the real world, and you have no way of knowing if your strategy to focus on a particular market segment or and the way in which you're going to, you have no idea whether it's working or you were just lucky. Well, people say, oh, what you need is scorecards. Scorecards. Okay, let's have a scorecard. There we are, there's a scorecard. This actually is a screenshot from a real scorecard. It was the mother of all scorecards. I saw it. This is only a quarter of it. Boy, these guys had dials coming out their ears. Do you know what? They have the same problem. Customer satisfaction has gone green. Why has it gone green? Well, I don't know. Let's have it stay green next month. And does customer satisfaction really have any impact on profitability? Does it? Actually, I heard someone saying in a conference 2 weeks ago that I was at, saying it's customer satisfaction that drives profitability. Well, I said, that's crap. I mean, anybody who's got a mobile phone contract knows that's not true. I mean, they all seem to want to... Oh, there's no telecoms companies here, is there? Can we delete that from the tape? I mean, they make money by actually abusing their customers. You know, so... I don't know. And the 4th thing issue, and then we're going to start looking at how we fix this, is actually it generates silos of data. So, we have operational KPIs in a silo of data. We have budget performance in a silo of data. And what I really want to know is if I do the right operational things, what's it going to cost me? What's the budget for it? Is that spend worth the return that I get back from it? I actually need to combine all of this because stuck in silos, it can give me the wrong information.